ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. I want to thank David Betancourt, my boy, editor for sports memorabilia and collectibles at The Athletic. He joined us on Zoom. You can find him on the internet at a DC Fanboy. And Richard Brown, director of Origin, the story of the Basketball Africa League, joined us by phone. That premieres in a 4-part series on the ESPN app tomorrow. 888-ESPN, 888-729-3776. Keith in North Carolina, you're on the show.
Hey, Clinton, how you doing, man?
Pretty good, bro. What's up?
Not much. I just wanted to get things straight with the UNC rushing the floor. Right, they shouldn't have rushed the floor, but people don't understand this Raleigh-Durham, Chapel Hill area. That was an emotional game. Duke beat Carolina 3 straight times, and it was just emotion that came out. We're dealing with all the situations going on at UNC, Belichick. It was just built up from the students, that's all.
Thanks for the phone call. Listen, you can't run around calling it the greatest rivalry in college basketball and then say people don't understand the emotion of the situation. Yes, they understand the emotion of the situation. People just don't think court storming twice and getting violent is cool. I get what you're saying. But come on. It's Duke-UNC. It is literally the most storied rivalry in the game of college basketball. The emotion is a given, not something that from a game-to-game situation people think is changing. Ask Devin. He knows about emotion.
I certainly do, Clinton. 2018, Bonaventure.
Yeah.
Only in New York. St. Bonaventure, New York, we have our own post office, so I don't want to upset anybody listening. I was at the game. We were playing VCU, who was very good at the time. 3.2 seconds left on the clock, inbound situation. We're down 2 points. It was 63-65. We hit a three-pointer, and I say we because it's my school.
You went there.
I went there.
You were there.
We hit a three-pointer. There was 0.4 seconds left on the clock when it went through the net. VCU inbounds the ball. Meanwhile, everyone's going nuts, right? There's a small trickle of fans that go on the court. Nothing compared to the entire sea of people at UNC that went. What happens to us, Clinton, when we go on the court? We get a technical foul. They call a technical foul. VCU hits both free throws to win the game. I was there. So when I saw this game, when I saw this premature court storm, the group chat went nuts. We were saying, what happened? Why are they not calling technicals for us anymore? Why do we get screwed while UNC gets to gallivant out and storm the court twice? Unbelievable.
Did you become a part of said trickle? Were you part of the individuals that made their way onto the court?
I might have been as part of said trickle.
Oh, Bubba! He omitted that information.
The foot might have crossed the baseline. The foot might have crossed the baseline.
So the difference, of course, was you. Fair enough. You can watch Clinton and Friends on ESPN Plus. Just head to the new ESPN app. Click on Watch, look for Clinton and Friends, and enjoy. Let's go to the water. Oh, my God, that's social media. Dulcet tones, Dustin Akui, and the Circle of Life. The point of the program where we look back and reflect on the day and take stock. Don Jenver says, the name Supersonics and all the history will belong to Seattle again. It was part of the original settlement to get the team to OKC. Also, the number of NBA players from the Seattle area is not small. It is a basketball city. The green and gold is coming back. Folks are excited up there in the PNW, the Pacific Northwest, brother, as you should be. One of the greatest franchises out there. Let's see what else we got. Oh, here we go. This guy, Velcro's 205. This dude says, one of my New Year's resolutions was to lose weight. Started listening to Clinton and Friends on ESPN Radio. Now I'm bulimic. Then why don't you unfollow me, hotshot? You clearly enjoy it, but you're one of those people that's too scared to admit it. It's all right. If you've got a crush on me, just ask me out, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be lucky enough to go on a date. Mr. 20904 says, politics has nothing to do with race issues. This is a humanitarian issue, along with being civil, not politics. Needs to be addressed as a humanitarian issue and has to replace the word politics, in my opinion. Well, your opinion, in my opinion, is Pollyannish. They're not mutually exclusive. You can't separate the two as much as you want to for the sake of optics or semantics. In reality, they are one and the same to some degree. While one is technically a process and the other is technically in existence, the process affects everybody's existence. Therefore, the reason why we mention them in the same breath. That's how that goes. It's not that hard, and it's not very difficult for me to be able to discuss things like this because they matter. Not because I'm trying to preach or do anything like that, but once again, if their athletes are asked about it and the athletes are speaking about it, therefore, it is news. And with that, the Circle of Life is closed. All right, what's on the menu, Devin? We got a little time to stretch out with these.
Yeah, so we got a breakfast Philly, Clinton. Let me pull up what this actually is. Yeah, so the breakfast Philly includes a toasted sub roll with scrambled eggs, American cheese, peppers, and onions with a hash brown on the side. Does that interest you at all?
Yeah, wait. Does it have meat on it?
Yeah, I assume it's a steak. You know, it's a steak.
You can pick chicken or steak.
I believe it would have steak on it. Although now that I look at it, it doesn't specify. This could be an absolute miss by the calf.
There was a stretch during the pandemic when I was eating chicken Phillies like every day. Like it was like a bit. Look, if you Google or you Twitter search my name and chicken cheesesteak, there's like hundreds of tweets about it because it took over my life for a while. Anyway, what else we got?
We got a meatloaf sandwich, just your run-of-the-mill meatloaf sandwich, a little mushroom gravy.
What's the mushroom gravy? That sounds lovely.
Yeah, a little pasta station ever popular on Tuesday. Gochujang marinated cucumbers.
Oh,
as a salad. We also have a grilled chicken gochujang cucumber salad. I'm just butchering this name.
It's okay.
A cauliflower parmesan soup and a Southwest chicken soup today for your options.
Cauliflower parmesan, nice. Bubba, what are you going for in that situation?
I don't like mushrooms, so the meatloaf is probably out there. 30
Get your
seconds.
vegetables, Bubba.
The breakfast Philly. I don't think there is going to be meat there because I think. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that.
It has to have meat. There's no way in a world there's no meat.
But there's no listing of meat. I don't know. So I might have to go off the border pasta.
Wow.
Although I did get the turkey club yesterday, and it was quite enjoyable.
Well, the Rich Eisen Show is coming up next. This has been Clinton and Friends on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. It's supposed to rain today in Los Angeles, so I will see you under the covers having my druthers, kiddos.
Smalls here. Life is full of choices, some big, some small. And when you choose an H&R Block Tax Pro, you're choosing the largest network of tax expertise to be in your corner. For when your big ambitions need help with the small details. For when your six figures come from 6 different places. For when your gaming stream becomes your revenue stream. For when your business's year one needs 70 years of tax know-how. At H&R Block, they've seen it all. And they're here to help you make the most out of your money for life outside the box. Get started at HRBlock.com.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen for Pella Windows and Doors. Sometimes teams take a time out to regroup and call the right play. When it comes to your home, Pella Windows and Doors always has the winning game plan. They're not just window and door experts. They're experts at taking care of you and your home. At Pella, they find the products that meet your needs and their experts install them. They do it every day, and that's why your neighbors trust them. Discover why Pella is a trusted choice for homeowners everywhere. Visit Pella.com/Eisen today. That's Pella.com/Eisen.
This is a Pirate Radio Sports Break. I'm Shirley Rhodes. The East Carolina women's basketball team heads back out on the road to take on Tulane tonight at 7:30 inside Devlin Fieldhouse. The Green Wave enter the game with an 8-14 record, 3-7 in conference play, and are currently in a 4-game losing streak. Kim McNeil's ball club is 17-7 overall, 9-2 in the American, and currently have a firm hold on second place. The game will be televised on ESPN+. And ECU Lacrosse's Emma Magazoo has been named the American Conference Player of the Week, while goalkeeper Jamie Behar and midfielder Kayla Wilkes earned honorable mention recognition. Magazoo helped the Pirates to a 15-4 win over Queens on Sunday to open the season. Magazoo is the reigning American Conference Defensive Player of the Year. And coming up at noon, it's the Brian Bailey Show. His guests will include Xavier head baseball coach Billy O'Connor and UCLA recruiting coordinator and ECU alum Bryant Ward. This has been a Pirate Radio Sports Break. I'm Shirley Rhodes.
Capital Subaru of Greenville is transforming your everyday commute into something a little more extraordinary, and there's never been a better time to drive one home. From the adventure-ready Outback to the sleek and efficient Forester, they got the perfect ride for you. In addition to their great selection of new and used car inventories, the Subaru Service Center is commanded by a team of experts, handpicked for their knowledge, passion, and promise to treat every car as if it's their own. Capital Subaru of Greenville, off Memorial Drive, or online at capitalsubaruofgreenville.com.
At Langley Contracting, we're superior roofing specialists. Whether it's a new roof or repairing your old one, we've got you covered. And best of all, we handle your insurance claims. We are locally owned right here in Eastern Carolina. We are licensed and insured and have a 25-year roof warranty. We can handle your gutter installation too, so everything is seamless. Call or visit us online at 214roof.com for your free estimate today.
Langley Contracting, your superior roofing specialist.
Hey Pirate Nation, are you in the market for a member-focused local credit union or making a switch from your existing one? Then explore First Flight Credit Union with branches across Eastern North Carolina where all residents are membership eligible. First Flight members experience in-person service, competitive savings, and loan rates. Everything from automobile, boat, and home loans, First Flight has you covered. First Flight is more than just a branch. They're on a mission to take better care of our community. Stop by one of their local branches today or visit efirstflight.com. First Flight is insured by the NCUA and an equal housing lender.
A quick getaway to paradise is as easy as breezing into 34 Degrees North restaurant at the Beaufort Hotel. Enjoy coastal Carolina cuisine featuring fresh local seafood or savor their hand-cut steaks. It's the premier dining destination on the Crystal Coast. The waterfront restaurant serves breakfast, lunch, dinner, and their popular weekend brunch. 34 Degrees North restaurant in Beaufort is open daily. Visit their website, 34degreesnorthrestaurant.com, or call 252-838-7250. 34 Degrees North restaurant at the Beaufort Hotel.
Beauty Bar Medi Spa specializes in non-surgical aesthetics. Our expert team of licensed professionals are dedicated to offering personalized solutions, giving you natural-looking results. If you've ever been curious about lip filler, now is the perfect time to explore it. For the entire month of February, enjoy special savings thoughtfully customized to enhance your natural beauty. Never overdone, always you. Not sure where to start? We offer free consultations, giving you the opportunity to ask questions and create a personalized plan just for you. Call Beauty Bar Medi Spa today or book online at beautybarmedispa.com. 1021 Red Banks Road, Greenville. Go Pirates.
If you missed Pirate Radio Live, you missed
Jacob Jenkins Coward joining us. The Marlins seem like an up-and-coming kind of young organization with the way Clayton McCullough had him year one last year, won more games than people thought. Does that kind of spread throughout the organization, kind of an excitement level?
The old school way of doing things, kind of the big leagues, are completely different than the minor leagues.
Right.
You have to break down that wall and get there to be a part of that. And the Marlins' new front office, that they're trying to make it as a one cohesive unit, which I like.
Pirate Radio Live, weekdays from 3 to 6, exclusively on Pirate Radio TV on YouTube, and on the Pirate Radio app. This is Pirate Radio, WGHB Farmville, 1250 at 92.7 FM Greenville, WDLX Washington, 930 and 104.1 FM Washington. The following is an exclusive presentation of Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation. This is Eastern North Carolina's longest-running sports radio call-in show. The Brian Bailey Show is on the air. The Brian Bailey Show on Pirate Radio is brought to you by
Bojangles, Bostic Sugg, Michelob Ultra, East Coast Grading, DriveHereNow.com, Greenville Utilities, Papa John's, Pepsi, Taft and Hagler, The Rick House, and Tiebreakers.
And now, here's Brian Bailey.
Good Tuesday, everyone. Welcome into our show. Finally, it is game week for Pirate Baseball. East Carolina and Xavier set to open up a 3-game season opening series on Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock at Clark LeClaire Stadium. Hopefully, the weather will be fine for this weekend. There is some chances for showers on Sunday. There's a possibility maybe of a doubleheader on Saturday, but that's way too early to call any of that. All we know is Xavier's coming to town, and we're going to have 3 games of baseball to start the season. Coming up on our show, to lead off our show, is Billy O'Connor, the Xavier baseball coach, set to enter his 9th season at Xavier with the Musketeers, and he's got a tough non-conference schedule we'll talk about. He's going to talk about the Pirates as well. And then in the back half of our show, Bryant Ward, who's an assistant at UCLA. The Bruins are ranked number 1 in the nation in the preseason poll for D1 baseball. Bryant Ward is well known at the youth leagues in Greenville, playing Little League, growing up here in Greenville, playing at J.H. Rose, and then, of course, moving on to East Carolina, a teammate of Cliff Godwin and Eric Backich and Chad Tracy on those Keith LeClaire teams. Great conversation coming up with Bryant Ward. But we'll kick it off with Billy O'Connor. He's the Xavier baseball coach, and he's bringing his Musketeers to town. That's coming up right after this.
After years in the making, the new Papa John's Pan Pizza recipe is ready. Introducing a new pan pizza with edge-to-edge cheese and toppings, a crispy garlic parmesan crust, and 6 cheeses. It's the perfect balance of a soft, fluffy interior dough and a crispy crust. You'll agree this pan pizza was worth the wait. Order the new pan pizza today from your local Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Hi, I'm Ken Hagler of Taft Hagler. We're proud to be sponsors of the Brian Bailey Show and the Pirate Nation on Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation. If you've been injured on the job or due to someone else's negligence in an automobile collision, call us at 752-2000 for a free consultation with experienced professionals who care. Go Pirates!
Looking for the perfect getaway? Discover Washington, North Carolina, where small town charm meets waterfront adventure. Stroll along the scenic waterfront, explore unique shops and local restaurants, or kayak the Pamlico River at sunset.
From family fun to romantic escapes, Washington has something for everyone. Plan your next trip today at visitwashingtonnc.com and experience why they call it the original Washington.
Visit us in Washington. Your escape starts here.
This is Dr. Christopher McDowell from Orthopedics East and Sports Medicine Center. Our practice has been caring for athletes at ECU and the residents of Eastern North Carolina for more than 35 years. Whether it's time for your sports injury or it's time for that joint replacement, Orthopedics East provides the latest in operative and non-operative orthopedic care. We also offer on-site physical therapy and MRI services, as well as walk-in urgent care on the weekends from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. For experience and professional care, call us at 757-BONE or visit us online at orthoeast.com. Go Pirates!
Dude, that home run just busted your windshield.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
You're not worried about it?
Yeah, I've got Brandon Manning and Farm Bureau Insurance.
Hey, Pirate Nation, this is proud ECU graduate and former baseball player Brandon Manning inviting you to join my team at Farm Bureau Insurance. From home, auto, or life, give me a call today and let's talk about your insurance coverage and about the Pirates. Call 531-1812 and go Pirates.
Have you ever seen those exotic aquariums like the guys do in Las Vegas on television? You ever thought about having one of these aquariums in your business? It's more affordable than you think. This is Hal Pruitt with rentafishtank.com. We can make having an aquarium in your business turnkey with no work, cleaning, or hassles for you. Rentafishtank.com creates a relaxing atmosphere and keeps children occupied. Rentafishtank.com already services many dental, pediatric, and doctor offices, plus hospitals and senior living centers. Check us out at rentafishtank.com.
This is former ECU baseball player and mayor of Greenville, PJ Connolly, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities. Community-owned utilities mean local control, low rates, and high reliability. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back to our show. We've waited for this week for a long time, and finally it's opening week in college baseball. East Carolina and Xavier, the Musketeers, coming to town. Head coach Billy O'Connor joins us now from Cincinnati, Ohio. Coach, how are things on your end of the earth today?
They're cold. They're getting better, but they're cold. Looking out at the field right now, we got the infield plowed, but there's still about 6 inches of snow out in the outfield. So we're looking forward to a little bit warmer weather down there this weekend.
We got our taste of snow. We had 12 inches last week sometime, so we're not used to that. So you guys are used to that, aren't you?
We are. It's certainly colder up here than it is down there in Greenville, but, we got hit with a lot of snow this year, a lot more than usual. So we've been dealing with it. We've been trying to make the best of it. We actually took a trip down to Florida last weekend to go down and practice and be able to get outside because we haven't been out on our field in close to 3 or 4 weeks now. So it was good to get out there, see some sunshine, catch some fly balls, play some actual baseball instead of just hitting in the cages.
I didn't plan on asking this question this early, but I had Eric Backich, the head coach of Clemson, who has East Carolina ties on last week, and he's proposed a deal where we move the season to the first week of March to open up opening day, and that would slide the calendar back. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think he's picking the right off season to push that agenda again. I have no doubt about that because there's been snow just about everywhere but Florida so far. But no, it's a good idea. There's a lot of logic, and I know Eric spent a ton of time putting that whole presentation together. I don't disagree with it at all. There's some hurdles on the back end as you start to get into post school stuff in June and May and potentially July, and talking about programs having to feed kids a little bit more and house kids a little bit more. So there's some back end logistics that I think challenge it. And Eric talks about that. He talks about the idea of being able to make more money and draw better attendance to kind of help offset some of those costs that might go along with it. But listen, it's crazy at the end of the day that we start baseball a month and a half before professional baseball does. So I think there's a lot of validity to those thoughts.
We're talking with Xavier baseball coach Billy O'Connor. His Musketeers headed this way coming up. They'll arrive on Thursday. Opening day is Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock, Clark LeClaire Stadium. The weather is expected to be pretty good for Friday and for Saturday. Coach, talk about your ball club a little bit. This is a team that's picked high up in the Big East, but you were going to put them through a gauntlet in the non-conference, aren't you?
We are. We'll certainly challenge ourselves, and I think we have the right guys to do it. Like we know we're not going 56-0 this year. We know we're probably not going 10-0 to start the year. Between ECU and Arkansas and Fullerton and Oregon State and Louisville and all these different teams that we're going to play, it's going to be a challenge. We're so excited to get down to ECU. I've never been there myself. We love to challenge ourselves against really high-level programs. We love to play in tough environments, and that's what we know about ECU, right? The consistent success that they've had over the course of, my lifetime. My coaching career has been incredible. The environment down there in the jungle, we're excited to be a part of it. We're excited to go down there and compete. I like our guys. We've got some veteran guys that have been around. We've got some guys that have some past experiences, some success along the way. We got to go do it, but I do think we have the pieces in place this year to have a pretty good team.
When you look at it, Cliff Godwin played at East Carolina, back with his school, trying to lead them to Omaha. You played at Xavier. You're back with your school. And some of the things that you've said, and I've heard some interviews and doing some research for this show, match Coach Godwin. I mean, it's almost eerie just how much you guys are alike.
Yeah, I watch him. I've watched plenty of ECU games over the year, and he's a fiery dude. And my wife is excited. She's like, she knows him. She doesn't know many college baseball coaches. She's like, you're gonna coach against that coach down at ECU. It's like, yeah. So I like to think that I've got two young daughters now. And maybe I've cooled down a little bit, but I still got a little bit of fire to me. But no, talking about coaching at your alma mater, that's everybody's dream. And it's special no matter where you are. And there's 300 Division I coaches that love where they're at, I think. But to actually do it at the school you played for and where you graduated from, it's a really special deal. There's no doubt about that. So both myself and Coach Godwin are super lucky to be able to represent our schools.
Yeah, and you talked about the schedule, and when you look at yours on the non-con for the weekends at East Carolina, at Arkansas, at Fullerton, at Oregon State, at Georgia Tech, and then the midweeks, Louisville, Indiana, Ohio State for 2, Oregon for 2, Ball State, Cincinnati, Vanderbilt, and Michigan, and then you have the Big East. So you have a great schedule, kind of like what Coach Godwin trying to put together. He wanted to bring you guys in here because he thinks you've got a really good ball club as well, and you got Coastal Carolina on the Pirates schedule coming up. We got North Carolina coming up. So very similar in the thought process, isn't it?
No doubt about it, and I think that if you want to be the best version of yourself, you have to challenge yourself, and along the way there's going to be adversity, right? We could schedule differently, and we could probably have more wins on our schedule. We could schedule differently, and our guys could probably have better stats, but I don't believe that that's really how you best develop yourself as an individual, and I don't think that's how we're going to continue to push forward as a program. So, man, where ECU is right now with the success they have every year in the NCAA tournament, like that's where I want to get Xavier to. I want to see what Coach Godwin does. I want to be in that environment, and same thing with Arkansas, same thing with Fullerton and Oregon State and Oregon. These programs have got it, and we're working and we're getting better year after year after year, but that's what we're striving to get to. So I think that, I think there's a lot of logic to it. You're tested, and when things get down to the end of the year, the crunch time, like, you're ready for it. You've been a part of it. Like we'll have played at Arkansas, it's a really tough environment. We'll have played at East Carolina, a really tough environment. When we're playing in a regional this year, like our guys aren't going to freak out because of the environment. We still got to go do it, but man, we want to prepare our guys as best as possible for what's coming down the road.
Yeah, one of the quotes I think you've said, you want to be a lot better in May than you are in February, right?
Mm-hmm. No doubt about that. And I think you have to challenge yourself to get there.
All right, let's talk about your ball club a little bit. You'll bring with you the preseason Big East Player of the Year in Connor Mitch. Talk about him a little bit at first base.
Yeah, Connor's a tough at-bat. He's a veteran guy. He's been around for a long time. He's got a ton of at-bats to his name, and every time he steps in the box, he gives you a really competitive at-bat. He's maybe not your prototypical first baseman from a power standpoint, but I think that power is going to come on a little bit more this year. But just super competitive at-bats, really good bat-to-ball, not much swing and miss, works the count, knows the strike zone, just, sets a tone and how you'd hope a veteran would do it.
All right, Clay Burdett's a junior outfielder. He hit .292 last year, also on that preseason Big East team.
Yeah, Clay's a special athlete. He hits the ball as hard as any human being I've ever seen. He hit 117 against Oregon State last year out in Arizona opening weekend, where I will coach for a long, long time, and I don't think I'll ever forget that one. I've never seen a baseball move away from me with that kind of speed. He's a special player. He's been around. He played a lot last year, but it was just his redshirt freshman year. So I think he's truly just scratching the surface of the player that he's ultimately going to be. But just a first-class human being, incredible worker, incredible teammate, and I think he's going to put together a really nice season for us this year.
Right-handed pitcher Ryan Peach, your Friday night starter, 14 starts, 65 Ks and 59 2/3 last year, an in-run average of 2.60 in conference. So he's a good right-hander, isn't he?
He is very talented. When he's in the zone, his stuff's really tough to hit. And it's not, crazy walks or anything like that, but there's some times when, the command escapes him a little bit. But when he's in the zone, pounding the strike zone, his stuff is really good. We feel really good going into all the crazy non-conference weekends we have, that we've got a Friday guy that I think can match up with most other Friday guys. Now, we got a special one we're going to see on Friday night.
Yes, you are.
I'm not super excited to try to match up against, but no, Ryan will go out there, compete like crazy, and he's super talented, and I think he'll put us in a position where he'll give us a chance to win the game.
Yeah, you mentioned the matchup. Ethan Norby had just incredible stats last year, and just the way he goes about his business is just really fun to watch. What do you know about him?
A competitor. I was doing some background and just seeing, read a couple things that he was under recruited, and nobody was really on him. And then you look at the numbers that he's put up in his career so far. You love those kind of guys. And I think what I know about ECU is that they're very talented, right? But I think they got a little bit of chip on their shoulder kind of attitude, and that's what we try to pride ourselves on too. And when you look at an undersized left-handed pitcher that it doesn't throw 97, he's got velo, but it's not crazy velo. Yeah, that guy's a competitor. There's no doubt about it. I've never talked to him, I've never met him, I've never spent any time with him, but I can tell you he's got a chip on his shoulder, and he goes out there and competes like crazy every single day. So that's what we got to do to match it. We're not going to out-talent that guy, but you got to try to match his intensity and match his competitiveness, and give ourselves a chance and some opportunities, and take advantage of those opportunities when they come.
Coach, talk about the rest of your pitching staff. What will we see the rest of the weekend?
We'll see Jack Noby on Saturday night. Jack was a freshman for us last year that threw some meaningful innings, and there's some ups and downs like most freshman year, but he took some real steps forward towards the end of the year, and then went up to the Cape and had a lot of success too. And then he's taken a big step forward since he's been back on campus for his sophomore year. So he's got some big time stuff. We're excited about him. He's a great competitor, super athlete. I think he's going to be a good one for us. And then Jack Deteen is who we'll see on Sunday. He's another guy. He had a rough freshman year, and I'm so proud of the way he handled it. We live in the world of point fingers, and it's everybody else's fault when things don't go well. And Jack he said, "I'm going to get better. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to keep at this." And despite constant failures last year, quite honestly, the numbers aren't good at all. But man, he kept sticking it out, and he went up to the Cape too, and he did a nice job, and he came back this fall, and he's so much better, and he's come back this spring, and he's so much better. It's the thing that, it's kind of left college athletics now. Usually now if things don't go well, you go in the portal and you find somewhere else, and, I don't know if that's always the best way to get better, as much as just looking in the mirror and saying, man, I need to get better. So Jack's he's a great kid. He's a talented pitcher. Super excited for him to take the strides forward that he's taken since last year, and I think he's going to have a really nice year for us.
As a player and early in your career as a head coach, did you ever think we'd be in a situation where kids could just jump into the portal and instead of recruiting someone, you're basically trying to figure out how much money you have and what you can spend and that kind of thing?
It's a crazy world we live in.
It is that.
In a million years, I never thought this is where college athletics would be, but that's where we're at, and we got to make the best of it. And who knows where college athletics is going to be 5 years from now. So, that's part of, I think, the programs that have the most success are able to adapt, because as soon as you start to figure this thing out, the rules change again, and you got to adapt again. So it is what it is. I don't think anybody's in love with the system that we've got right now, but, you got to make the best of it, and it works itself out for the most part.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that like you said, in a million years, you wouldn't have thought that we'd be at this point right now, and you don't know what's in the future. You kind of have to embrace it and kind of just have to go from there. But I've talked to so many former athletes at East Carolina who battled through adversity, battled through stuff, and almost to a man, they say, I don't know if I'd have done that if I had, this opportunity and the money being thrown. And especially in football. Baseball's a little different, I think. But football, even in basketball, there's so much money out there. Guys are getting all these, just life-changing money, really, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. No doubt. I mean, we live in the world of instant gratification right now. If you don't like what's going on, you either find a different situation or you sue somebody, and you end up one. And that's not how the world's supposed to work. But it is what it is. And I do think that baseball's been a little bit more immune to what's going on than football and basketball, like you said. But it's creeping in there for sure. But you wonder about what this means for generations to come, and just being able to, like I said, look in the mirror and say, I got to get better. It's not the coach's fault. It's not going to be any better if I transfer. I just need to get better, and the guys that do that, those are the ones that are going to ultimately have success, bouncing from school to school to school to try to find the perfect situation. At the end of the day, you just got to work and get better. That's what it comes down to.
This time of the year, do you have your starting pitchers on a certain pitch count?
Yeah, we'll probably be a little bit lighter than they would be, 3 or 4 weeks from now. But they've all been built up pretty well, so we feel pretty good that they hopefully can give us 5 or 6 innings, and probably not CG opening weekend, but we think they can go out there and give us some innings to get us into these games. And then the pens become even more important as you get these early weekend or these opening weekends, because you're going to have to use a little bit more, a couple more pitchers out of the bullpen. But yeah, I feel good about our starters being built up to a spot where they can give us some depth in this game.
How does scouting a team that you're getting ready to play work, especially to open up the season? Is there tape from last year that you look at? Are there reports that you read, things like that? How do you build your scouting report for the opening series?
Yeah, that's actually what I've been doing all day long so far. I'll do all day tomorrow. I'll do all day on the flights on Thursday. Try to gather as much information as possible on these guys. And the part that's tough early in the season is that, who, let's say, Colby Wallace was last year, he could be a different player this year.
Yeah.
Who Walker Barron was last year, he could be a different player this year. So you want to make sure you have you prepare your guys as well as possible. The biggest thing is that, you want to make sure there aren't any secrets, there's no surprises. At the end of the day, we got to go out there and make pitches and have competitive at bats and make plays defensively, and nothing that we do from a scouting standpoint is going to change that. But we want to make sure our guys are prepared. So yeah, we spend time on Synergy watching video and looking up stats and doing all the homework we can to make sure we're as prepared as possible. Then when Friday hits, it's time to just go play. I don't want guys dwelling on scouting reports. I don't want them thinking about statistics and numbers. I want them to go compete. It's my job to make sure that we have all the answers when situations arise during the course of the weekend.
What do you think the guys have heard about East Carolina and playing at Clark LeClaire Stadium?
Oh, I think jungle. I think that's what everybody and everybody's excited to experience. So I'm glad that for a little while there, the weather was looking a little shaky even the first couple of days. So I wasn't sure what kind of attendance there might be, but it looks like the first couple of days will be pretty nice now. So we're excited. You play. It's one of the things in the Big East we don't get, there's good baseball, don't get me wrong, there's really good teams, UConn and Creighton and St. John's, not a whole lot of hostile environments. I think our guys are excited for a hostile environment. Now, don't use that against me.
I promise.
And yelling and cussing us out, but I think we're excited to go down there and compete and see what it's all about.
Yeah, it'll be a little different this year because there's a lot of construction around the stadium, which is going to make it that much better in the future. But I know that the jungle will be packed, and folks around here talk baseball 24/7, 365. I mean, they've been waiting for a long time. Seems like yesterday the Pirates had battled back and had won the American, went down to Coastal Carolina, knocked off Florida not once but twice, and then had a chance against Coastal in that regional final, lost that close game. But it was just a great end of the season for East Carolina. They're hoping they can carry some of that momentum into this season, and I'm sure you guys come to town. It's the thought process, as you said, we're not going to go 56-0, but in baseball it's like 2 out of 3. That's a positive, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, if we come out of this weekend winning a series on the road against a team like ECU, that's a great weekend for us, And in the moment, you try to win every single game, but you try to be realistic as well, Like to go down there and say, oh, we're going to sweep ECU, like, it's not a realistic expectation. It'd be pretty cool if we did,
yeah.
But you want to win series. That's how you win championships within your conference. That's how you make hay from an at-large standpoint. When you win series, that's a pretty good weekend all in all. So yeah, that's certainly the goal. And it's funny you say talking about baseball all the time. I was listening to the commercials while I was waiting to come on today. Everybody on your commercials played baseball at ECU. It sounds
that's right.
Played baseball at ECU. The guy doing the played baseball at ECU. So no, I'm excited to go experience that this weekend.
Yeah, you said that sweep would be neat. Wouldn't be so neat for us because I got Cliff Godwin next week on the show, so that might be a little more difficult. But it's going to be a great series. East Carolina and Xavier, and just the start of baseball. I always say we kind of cheat winter a little bit because all of a sudden it's spring in Greenville, North Carolina. Coach Billy O'Connor from Xavier joining us. Coach, best of luck this weekend. Have a safe trip to Greenville. We hope you enjoy everything about Greenville and East Carolina University and Clark LeClaire Stadium. And if you need anything our way, just have one of your folks get in contact with us and we'll help you out all we can.
Sounds good, Brian. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, that's Billy O'Connor, head baseball coach at Xavier. We'll take a commercial break right now. Coming up next, UCLA assistant Bryant Ward has all kinds of connections to Eastern North Carolina and Greenville. That's coming up as our show continues right after this.
At Tiebreakers, we pride ourselves on serving
big, juicy wings.
I'm talking
big and juicy.
Our chickens are the same ones that kick sand in the other chickens' faces. If our chickens played football, they'd be linebackers. The competition's chickens, they'd be
skinny little kickers.
Trade those kickers in for linebackers. Join us today for
big, juicy wings.
All season long at Tiebreakers.
Tiebreakers, with 2 locations in Greenville and on Railroad Street in Winterville.
It doesn't matter if you're running drills at the park, playing pickup on a Saturday, or sinking the final putt. When you compete with your friends with Michelob Ultra on the line, competition isn't that friendly. The trash talk, next level, and the stakes, those are crystal clear. With only 95 calories and superior smooth taste, it's the ultimate trophy. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Greenville Motor Company celebrating 40 years serving Greenville and Eastern North Carolina. Family owned and operated by Tommy and Brian Cook. When it comes to financing, they've got options for everyone. Over 20 lenders that can help you with no money down, competitive rates, and monthly payments that fit any budget. First-time buyer, rebuilding credit, looking for that dream upgrade, they'll help you drive away happy. Greenville Motor Company, right across from Greenville Nissan, 1000 Southwest Greenville Boulevard. DriveHereNow.com, driven by service, powered by trust. Greenville Motor Company.
Enjoy the warm air, circulating moments after you turn up the heat. Precise control of cooking temperatures. Enough hot water on demand for everyone's shower. The instant glow of warmth when you turn on your fireplace or fire pit. Never having to change a gas tank on your outdoor grill. Experience the affordable luxury of natural gas. Find out more at GUC.com.
This is Tyler Sneed, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities, working for our community, not for shareholders. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back to our show. Joining us now is Bryant Ward, the UCLA assistant coach, recruiting coordinator, starting his 11th season, and these Bruins are the preseason #1 team in the nation. Bryant Ward, how are you, sir?
Doing good, man. I'm doing good. Happy to be on the phone with you.
I tell you, if we get situated and trying to preview the upcoming baseball season each year, and every year I've got you on my list to get you on, talk baseball, that kind of thing, and then we start doing East Carolina, and then the baseball season starts, and I know all you guys like you, Eric Backus, all those guys are busy with baseball, so we're glad to get you on as we get set for opening day. Are your Bruins ready for the opener against UC San Diego?
I mean, I think we're as ready as we can be. You never really know what you got until you turn on the scoreboard and the games matter and stats count, and but we're as ready as we can be. I know we're ready to play somebody else. I do know that.
I think everybody is. East Carolina, of course, opening up with the Musketeers of Xavier. When you talk about UCLA baseball and West Coast baseball, is there a big difference between the West Coast and the East Coast?
I don't think there is. I mean, maybe back in the day there was. Nowadays players will go anywhere to play. I think there's good baseball across the country. At the end of the day, it's just, guys are trying to get a bunch of players that want to do what it takes to win, and I think you can find that all across the land nowadays.
Brian, how much do you think about your past, your career at East Carolina, your career at J.H. Rose with Ronald Vincent? I mean, those got to be great memories.
The best, man. I mean, I think about it all the time. I'm raising kids now that are in the youth sports game here in Hermosa Beach, and there's not much time that goes by where I don't spend time talking about growing up in Greenville and just the experience that playing. I mean, even going back to Randy Phillips and Small Fry and Big Fry.
Yeah.
Then Greenville Little League, and just how, I mean, the town almost and the way it's set up almost makes people fall in love with the game. And I'm just trying my best, although I think it's impossible to recreate it, but I'm trying my best to recreate that experience for my two boys out here.
When you were playing for the Rampants in that state championship season, 1997, with Ronald Vincent, did you ever have any thoughts at all that down the road somewhere I'm going to be an assistant coach with the number one team in the nation, and maybe down the road even further, a head coach of my own program?
Hey, man, I had no thoughts of it whatsoever. I was just trying to survive that game and do whatever I could to help that team win. I was a small part of that club. That was an unbelievable team that RV put together, and a lot of those guys had put their fingerprint on the game after high school, and I'm fortunate that I was one of them. I really did not know what I wanted to do other than play baseball for a long time, and then like everybody else, at some point the game tells you you're done. But I had such a passion for it, in large part because of the people I was around growing up with like I said before, Little League and RV, and the experience created at Rose, and then Coach LeClaire at East Carolina. And I was so in love with just the team component, competition component in the game, that I just did whatever I could to stay in it. And here I am, in my mid-40s, still finding a way to stay involved.
It's funny because you said mid-40s, and I think, I look back and I think of all you guys like Eric Backus and you, and I always think of you guys as players, that I covered. I don't think of you as getting older, like I'm getting way older, because I'm a lot older than you guys are. But when you think back to that lineup,
we still act like we're in our mid-40s.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I still,
where the confusion is.
Yeah, I still do the same thing. Just ask my wife. But if you look at Eric Backus, Chad Tracy, John Williamson, Cliff Godwin, Clayton McCullough, I mean, those teammates, that's just like a who's who, not only in East Carolina baseball, but in baseball nationally now, because, Backus is at Clemson, you're at UCLA. I mean, it's just mind-boggling that all of that talent that has stayed in baseball and done so many great things.
Yeah, it's really a tribute to, I always talk about, a lot of times coaches are judged by, players that they have that went on and went to the big leagues, where I feel like a lot of times coaches should be judged by how many players the coach wanted to stay in the game as coaches. And, for me, that's a tribute to Coach LeClaire and the lessons he gave and the culture that he created and the experience that he created, that all of us wanted to stay in the game after we played it. Yeah, I mean, it's you got Eric and Nick Schnabel and Chad and Clayton and Cliff, of course, and others as well, and Sam Nairn's in the game, and there's others that are in the game, and it's a tribute to the experience we had those 4 or 5 years at East Carolina, and the culture and the love for the game that Coach LeClaire created for us.
I told Eric Backus last week when I had him on, I said, I always think about the regionals coming out and East Carolina going to Clemson as a 2, or Clemson coming to East Carolina as a 2. And Backus said, I got one better for you. How about we go to Omaha? Clemson goes to Omaha. East Carolina goes to Omaha. UCLA goes to Omaha to get Coach Ward in there. How would that be?
That's it. That would be unbelievable. You know what? The last time Eric and Nick went to Omaha, if you remember, they beat us at UCLA to get there.
That's right. I do remember that now that you say that.
Oh, yeah. We were the number 1 national seed going into the postseason, and they had to win their conference tournament to get in. And they went through Oregon State and then came through UCLA and beat us in Game 3. And I got to watch Nick and Eric celebrate their way to Omaha from the other side of the field, which I guess if you're going to watch somebody do it, might as well be those two.
Yeah, might as well be some friends of yours. In 4 years at East Carolina.
We did say this before the series, though. We said it's guaranteed, though, that a number 23 is going to be in Omaha before that Super Regional.
Yeah, and that's really what matters, to honor head coach Keith LeClaire. And that's the goal Cliff Godwin has, to retire the 23 at East Carolina in Omaha. And that's always been the program's goal. And I still say they're going to get there. It's coming. 182 and 67 in your 4 years at East Carolina, the 4 NCAA regionals, the Super Regional. Well, what do you most remember about your 4 years at ECU?
Well, I mean, I remember it was, right away, it was super competitive. I remember the team building. I remember the relationships, the competition, the winning, being pushed to do things that I had no idea I was capable of doing mentally and physically, and coming out on the other side, and just the confidence just continued to grow. I carry that experience with me. Those are still my best friends to this day, those guys that are on that team. We have a little chat with me and Garrett and Nick and Cliff and Chad and John and Eric. And I mean, those relationships and lessons and winning and competing, it's unbelievable. And that's why I'm in the game, is to try to recreate that experience for, the people that I coach.
Is it harder these days with NIL, with the transfer portal? Because I look at what you just said, and I've heard Cliff say it 1,000 times, how hard a guy like Keith LeClaire pushed everybody and made you do things you didn't think were possible. But in this day and age, it seems like guys would just say, hey, I can't do it. I'm going to go somewhere else. And that's, that does not build character. That does not build men, does it?
It doesn't, and I think there's some today, probably more nowadays will, because they can. They can say they'll go somewhere else. Back in the day, you couldn't, but there's still guys out there that want to be coached, and that's the first step, to find guys that want to be coached, and then at the end of the day, I don't think you can worry about, if you start worrying about whether or not a guy is going to transfer. You're not going to get the best out of. And you got to get the best out of your players, and that's your job. And take it 1 year at a time. And it is hard, but it starts in recruiting. Like if you're recruiting for East Carolina like Cliff does, or UCLA like I do, you're recruiting players that want the entire experience, and you can't get it unless you start there and finish there. Like, you just can't.
We're talking with Bryant Ward, UCLA assistant coach, recruiting coordinator, coaches the infield, and he's the hitting coach. Of course, he's one of the Greenville, East Carolina legends that played under Keith LeClaire. He played at J.H. Rose, so he's a Greenville guy that's been around a long, long time. How does a guy like Bryant Ward end up on the West Coast and loving it so much?
So, it's a long story. I'll try to make it short. The natural progression for coaches Brian, as you know, as you finish at your school, and then you kind of come back in some sort of a volunteer, low pay, no pay role, and at your alma mater, and then build your career from there. Well, my last game at East Carolina was also, Coach DeClaire's last game. So they brought in the fresh staff, and Randy Mazey came in, and so I just sent out a ton of resumes. And Cal State Fullerton had just won the 2004 national championship. And, I'd always loved the coastal life in Southern California. My brother was living out here as a young actor, moving from New York. He was living in L.A., so I sent a letter to George Horton, and he responded. So I flew out there, met with him, offered me a no-pay job, and I took it and flew back home and drove up to New York, picked up my wife, drove from New York to Arizona to watch Chad play in the big leagues for a couple games, and then drove to California, and here I am, man.
Man, and the rest is history. Now, you did go to South Florida for 3 seasons. What was that like, and what was the difference there?
That was great. I mean, I was at Cal State Fullerton kind of in the no-pay role for 2 years. We were in Omaha in 2006. Job opened at South Florida. Kind of really leaned on Coach McMullen, Eric Backage, and Cliff, and some of those guys, and they helped me get my foot in the door there. Spent 4 years there. It was awesome. I mean, kind of trying to rebuild the program. Tino Martinez was on our staff, obviously a legend. I got to work there as a young coach and make mistakes. It was great. And then moved back out here in 2010. Been out here since.
And then, you got Loyola Marymount in there, and then you make the trip to UCLA, and obviously things have worked out very well starting your 11th season with the Bruins. But that's just like Loyola Marymount. I have never been there, but I hear great things how beautiful that place is.
So, yeah, so when the recruiting coordinator at Cal State Fullerton when I was there, his name's Jason Gill. He's one of my best friends and mentors, and he took the head job at Loyola Marymount in 2010. And so he hired me back out here. That's why I ended up going there. But, yeah, it's beautiful. It's like right on the bluff in Marina del Rey and panoramic view of the Pacific Ocean and Malibu. And, I mean, it's the good life at LMU. And so I was there for 4 years, and then it opened up at UCLA in 2015. And I didn't have to move. I just changed my collared shirts and changed where I drove to work every day. But I've been living in Hermosa Beach since 2010 and enjoying the West Coast baseball.
I tell you, and you talked a little bit about the young ones, but that's got to be just a great area to raise a family and try to balance, because obviously coaches put a lot of time into what they do, but to have a family-type atmosphere there to get the kids involved in youth sports and that kind of thing, it's got to mean a lot.
Yeah, and it's, you really can't balance it. You got to integrate family and baseball. Luckily, my wife, I met her at East Carolina, and so she's been through the whole baseball thing with me. We've been together since 1999, and so she knows the baseball life. Both of my kids are bat boys. My daughter runs a little bracelet business out of the concession stand, so she's getting some dough out of the thing.
There you go.
It's a whole family vibe. So my kids are growing up in the clubhouse, and they're mature beyond their years. They probably hear some things they might not they might shouldn't hear.
Right.
Hey man, it's a great place, and they got to be in the dugout in Omaha last year with me on Father's Day, which was a good time.
And that's got to mean a whole lot, and those pictures will mean a whole lot more as you grow older, and just looking back at some of those memories that you're able to make like that. Bryant Ward, UCLA assistant coach, joining us again with the 1997 state champs at Rose and all those years at East Carolina. During the season, Bryant, when you're busy and you're trying to get ready for weekends, and you got the midweeks, do you keep up with the likes of East Carolina, Clemson with Eric Backage, those kind of things?
Well, first of all, I'm always a Pirate, like always. So I keep up with East Carolina regardless in all sports, certainly baseball, but really, Brian, those are the only schools that I I try to stay so focused on our team. I don't care about any other team really or how they did other than East Carolina and Clemson and the Florida Marlins, or the Miami Marlins now. But that's really it. Like, I swear, that's all I care about. I stay in touch with those guys through the year, whether it's just talking about old times or asking coaching questions. But absolutely, I'm very engaged with Pirate baseball. Obviously, what Cliff's doing is insane. The consistency with him and his staff. So I'm always a Pirate, and the answer to that is absolutely yes. I keep up with anything and everything that's going on in Greenville and Pirate athletics.
We need to get UCLA down here for a 3-game series. How can we work that out?
I know, man. So East Carolina came out and played us in 2019.
I remember that, yep.
I think there was a return in the works, and COVID blew it up or something like that. But, yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be fun to get you back. Do you get to come back to Greenville with the family very often?
Yeah, so, we come back in the summers. Usually we were back in town for Christmas. So at least once a year, sometimes twice, we'll get back in town.
How much are you looking forward to this 11th season at UCLA, personally for you?
You know what? I'm excited about it. On paper, we got a great team. Obviously, we got to go out and do it. Our team is homegrown players. Last year, we were in Omaha with 8 underclassmen in our lineup, so all those guys are returning. We have, I think, 2 transfers on our roster, so it is an old school, homegrown guys have been here since freshman type roster that are now they're now juniors. Like, the bulk of our talent and lineup are juniors, so I'm excited for it. We come out of the gates with a very, very tough schedule, so we'll get some answers there, but it's a great group to be around. They've earned the preseason accolades for sure with their play. But at the end of the day, we got to go do it. But very, very, very excited for this team.
Do you see yourself as a head coach down the line? Is that one of your goals, or are you one of those that say, hey, I know my role, I like being an assistant, or does that really matter?
You know what, man? It's never really been a goal of mine. It's not something that I've stayed away from or something that I've ran towards. I've really just tried to be as good as I could be at what I was doing. I love coaching players. I love evaluating players, and I love recruiting players. Those are the things that I'm best at. At UCLA, I get a chance to do that. So I think the situation would have to be right for sure. There'd have to be things in line to be successful, which is a much different puzzle to put together nowadays than it was just 4 or 5 years ago. But I think it's something that I would do, but it's also I'm not looking to get out of here. I'm in a great place, and I get an opportunity to recruit and coach some of the best players in the country. So at the end of the day, I just try to do the best job at what I can do. And if the right head coaching job came open, I would entertain it. However, I would not become a head coach just to become a head coach.
Wrapping things up with Bryant Ward, Coach Backus told us last week that he really is a proponent for moving the season to opening day would be the first weekend in March and sliding everything. The northern teams obviously would benefit from that. Out west, I don't know if you guys, care either way because you got such great weather out there, but what do you think about that?
I think it's a good idea. I mean, it's been in the mid-70s out here, so it would not affect us really. But for the game, I think it's a good idea. March 1st, February 13th seems early, even sounds early. But I think March 1st and pushing the season back maybe a week would be good. If anybody can speak on it, it's a guy that spent a decade in Michigan. So whatever Backus says,
yeah.
I'll support it.
There you go. I joked we had the ECU banquet this weekend, and I was the MC, and I joked about I said, well, okay, we got opening day this weekend, February 13th through the 15th. We got Xavier coming to town. Average temperature expected to be in the mid-80s, so we expect to see at the ballpark. And everybody was scrambling for their phones to make sure the weather. I had the weather forecast right. Obviously, I was lying because it's supposed to be about 40, I think, and it's going to be awfully cold. So then I said, hey, it's Valentine's weekend. You want to snuggle up with your loved one, come out and get a blanket and watch a little Pirate baseball. So we don't have quite the weather you guys have.
Hey, well, if there's a team that'll be tough enough to win in 40 degrees, it'll be a team that's run by Cliff Godwin. I can tell you that.
Well said indeed. Brian, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck to those Bruins, the number one team in the country to start this season and your opening weekend with UC San Diego. Best of luck to the Bruins this year.
All right. Thanks, Brian. You're the man.
All right. Appreciate you, Bryant Ward, joining us. We're back with more here on The Brian Bailey Show right after this.
It's bow time. We know there's a lot of breakfast sandwiches out there, but only Bojangles has the legendary Cajun Filet Biscuit. Shake things up with a boldly seasoned chicken breast on a fluffy, made-from-scratch biscuit with bow rounds and your choice of drink. So when you're craving something bold, something different, something that takes breakfast to a whole new level, the Cajun Filet Biscuit is waiting for you, along with crispy bow rounds and a drink. Order in the app or at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Are you tired of dealing with IT headaches? Does this sound familiar? Slow computers, constant crashes, long wait times for IT support, and worries about cybersecurity. If you're nodding your head, it's time to call cybersharks.net. We handle IT so you can focus on growing your business. Fast, reliable, and always there when you need us. Call 321-7800 today and get IT support that actually works. Cybersharks.net. We keep your business swimming.
It's Bostic Sugg Furniture's Lazy Boy Market Sample Sell-Off. We bought out an entire showroom of 100 one-of-a-kind pieces of Lazy Boy furniture. Now we're selling it all at drastically reduced prices. Floor samples slashed an additional 50 to 70% off. This is a one-time opportunity to shop extreme sell-off prices on brand new Lazy Boy styles, recliners, power recliners, sectionals, and leather furniture, designer chairs, cocktail ottomans, and much more. Hurry! You will never, ever find Lazy Boy furniture at such low prices again at Bostic Sugg Furniture.
East Coast Grading and Utilities is your source for clearing, hauling dirt, and concrete work. East Coast Grading and Utilities handles all sewer and water issues as well.
I'm David Bond. Whether putting in a new subdivision or helping you with any and all of your drainage problems, I can get the job done. Call me at 531-7494.
No job is too big or too small. East Coast Grading and Utilities. Friends helping friends. 531-7494 for East Coast Grading and Utilities.
College is hectic, but where you live shouldn't be. At Pirates Cove, you get your own quiet space and private bathroom. With 2 pools, a fitness center, EV chargers, the only student property with a new soccer mini pitch field, a business room for focus, and a quick ride to campus. No dorms, no drama, just the lifestyle you're looking for. Pirates Cove isn't just where you stay, it's where you live.
If you're looking to make someone's day a little sweeter, Nothing Bundt Cakes has the perfect treat. From our bite-sized buntinis to our delicious 8 and 10-inch bundt cakes, every cake is baked fresh daily and topped with our signature cream cheese frosting. Birthdays, celebrations, office treats, or just because. There's always a reason for a bundt cake. Come see us in Greenville in the Law Promenade Shopping Center near Longhorn and let us help you share a little joy, one bundt at a time. Nothing Bundt Cakes. Make life a little sweeter every day.
This is Coach Gary Overton, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities. Community owned, community powered. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back to our show. Let's talk a little Pirate basketball. East Carolina back in action coming up tomorrow night. UTSA comes to town at just 4-19, and they are riding a 16-game losing streak. J-Bone found this information out for me, so I'll give him some credit. But he found that UTSA and East Carolina, as far as the stats go, are almost identical, and it's kind of eerie when you look at it. UTSA averaging 68.7 points per game, the Pirates 68.2. 80.9. That's just crazy. Points against, a little for UTSA. They're averaging giving up 80.4. Pirates 76.6. But the rest of the stats, too. Field goal percentage. Pirates shooting 41%. UTSA 40%. Rebounds. UTSA 36.2. East Carolina 35.9. Assists 10.8 for UTSA, 11.2 for East Carolina. Blocks 4.6 to 4.0. UTSA with the lead there. And in steals, UTSA 6.7. East Carolina was 6.4. That's just uncanny that two teams can be that identical. Now, lucky for the Pirates, they haven't lost 16 games in a row. They are struggling as well. 7-16 on the year. Desperate to get this win because you have to be in the top 10 as far as the American standings are concerned to make it to the postseason tournament, and they are in a dogfight in those standings right now. UTSA is at the bottom at a 0-11 clip in the American Conference, so we'll keep an eye on that. But Pirate basketball tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Pirate women's basketball set for tonight. Pirates playing at Tulane, and East Carolina has a very nice American record, having a chance to really make some noise in the American tournament later on, and maybe still in the regular season. Tulane not having that great of a year, so it's another key matchup that East Carolina has to go and take care of business on the road. But that game is set for tonight in New Orleans. East Carolina and the Green Wave of Tulane in women's hoops. Pirate baseball opening day at 4 o'clock. Then we got a 2 o'clock game on Saturday, 12:30 on Sunday. We're not sure how that Saturday-Sunday matchups are going to go because there is some rain in the forecast for Sunday. There could be a doubleheader on Saturday. Check your Pirate Radio social media, your East Carolina social media, your WNCT social media for that matter of that fact, because we'll all have it out there as soon as the decision is made. But that's a very real possibility. Hopefully Friday will be nice. Opening day, nothing really like it as East Carolina and Xavier. The Pirates and the Musketeers get set to do battle at 4 o'clock at Clark LeClaire Stadium. We're going to take one final break. We'll come back and then we'll wrap up this edition of the Brian Bailey Show for you right after this.
I'm Donald Stocks, owner of PIP Marketing Signs Print. We are your one-stop shop for just about anything printed. If we're not your go-to printer, please give us a call at 355-1636. We have over 80 5-star Google reviews and want you to be our next more than satisfied and well-pleased customer. Check us out at growatpip.com or stop in to see us at 3185 Mosley Drive in Greenville. PIP, where business goes to grow.
North Carolina State Parks invites you to enjoy camping your way. With the weather changing, booking your own cabin is the perfect solution for your camping getaway. Reserve campsites or cabins today at Jones Lake, Goose Creek, and Cliffs of the Neuse. Whether you enjoy traditional camping or air-conditioned cabins that can be rented with Wi-Fi, your next adventure can include hiking, beautiful scenery, and sunsets by the campfire. For information on booking a cabin, visit ncparks.gov.
UBE and PirateWare.com are proud to offer the Pirate Nation its largest inventory of ECU merchandise and tailgate supplies ever. UBE has the best prices in town, so that makes UBE your one-stop shop for all things ECU. UBE does daily restocks of Champion, Adidas, and Under Armour. Don't forget to bring your young Pirates to plunder the Crow's Nest, which is the only kids store dedicated to ECU. Plenty of free parking in downtown Greenville. Visit them online at PirateWare.com. Go Pirates!
This is Caleb Reynolds, lead minister at Eastern Pines Church, and I'd love to invite you to join us this Sunday at 9 and 10:30 at 3380 Portertown Road in Greenville. At Eastern Pines Church, you'll find real people, uplifting worship, and a place where your family can grow in your faith. Come see what God is doing right here in Greenville. We'd love to welcome you home at Eastern Pines Church. Visit easternpineschurch.com for more information.
Church services brought to you by S&K Trapping, East Coast Grading, Gregory Pool, Driven Details, East Coast Access, Cardinal Lock and Key, and rentafishtank.com.
Have you ever seen those exotic aquariums like the guys do in Las Vegas on television? You ever thought about having one of these aquariums in your business? It's more affordable than you think. This is Hal Pruitt with rentafishtank.com. We can make having an aquarium in your business turnkey with no work, cleaning, or hassles for you. Rentafishtank.com creates a relaxing atmosphere and keeps children occupied. Rentafishtank.com already services many dental, pediatric, and doctor offices, plus hospitals and senior living centers. Check us out at rentafishtank.com.
Hi, this is Brian Meador from East Carolina Athletics. You're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities, providing reliable utility solutions to the Greenville region since 1905. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back to the show as we wrap up this edition of The Brian Bailey Show. Just can't wait until Friday for opening day, 4 o'clock start time. I don't think that will change, even though it's going to get cooler as the night goes on, but it's supposed to be a pretty nice day coming up on Friday. As I said, going to break, there is a chance that we could play 2 on Saturday because there is so much of a chance of rain on Sunday, but that remains to be seen. East Carolina officials will discuss that with Coach Godwin, and they'll make that decision later on in the week. We've got a big softball tournament coming up in town this weekend. Great time of the year because there's so much activity over there on campus, either practicing or actual game days, and people, teams coming to town, playing in the games, visiting our restaurants, that kind of thing. So big time coming up in Eastern North Carolina with the spring sports all getting started. Clip Brock joins us for a few seconds here. We've got basketball tomorrow night, UTSA in town. How big of a game is that for Mike Schwartz?
I don't know, Bailey. If they win, is it a ripple? Is it an important win, a big win?
I think it's more if it's a loss. I think it's. I think it could be critical.
For me,
I know you've been very, very critical the whole year.
It doesn't matter to me if they win or lose tomorrow, and how I feel about the program.
Yeah,
where they are,
because they, they've struggled. I get, I know they've had the injuries. It's weird because in college basketball we saw such improvement last year. And, the 10 wins.
It's year to year, Bailey.
I know.
It's team to team.
And it's so disheartening because, especially at an East Carolina, because I've said this for years, that the Elons of the world, the UNC Wilmingtons of the world, all these teams in our state seem to be able, to go up and they go down a little bit and go up and go down a little bit. And the Pirates either stay level or down.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you've been around longer than I have. It's just that. Will they ever crack the code on it, man?
I know. And I've said this 100 times before, but when Terry Holland was hired, I said, hey, basketball's fixed. We got it figured out. And we just didn't.
Well, I still remember what my dad said when he made his first hire, and you'll enjoy this as a Wahoo. He said, he didn't hire one of them Virginia guards, did he?
Yeah.
And I said, Ricky Stokes? He said, yep, he did.
He didn't hire the right one, that's for sure. Yeah.
But no, I'm with you. If Coach Holland, and man, we had some good players during that era too, but just couldn't put it all together.
Yeah. Even Coach Mack, who I had a tremendous amount of respect for as a coach, before he got here, and he had some success.
He won everywhere, but
here. Yeah. I mean,
winning record everywhere.
He can tell you about that Indian burial ground at Minji's Coliseum, if anybody can. But it's just, it's really, as we've said so many times in so many different ways, it's such a tough nut to crack, Pirate basketball. The ladies, again, play tonight coming up at Tulane, and then it's East Carolina and UTSA. And I don't remember, I said this to Clip earlier, I don't remember ever covering a game this late in the season where a team came to Greenville on a 16-game losing streak.
Maybe like one of those non-conference games dating back to last season.
Right.
But in the same season, Bailey, I'm going to say this is a first. I can't imagine a 16-game losing streak coming in here.
Yeah, and just 0-11 in conference play. So UTSA really on the outside looking in as far as making it into the American tournament, trying to get into the top 10. That certainly doesn't look like it's going to happen. How excited are you for Pirate baseball this week?
Very excited. Last year, they struggled a little bit in the regular season. I said, don't worry, they're going to win the conference tournament. But this year, I want to dominate the regular season. I want to get another regional here in Greenville, and So I'm very excited about it.
And there's nothing like those regionals in Greenville. And I think back to the Super Regional against Texas and just the buzz around town and how important baseball is to people in Greenville and Eastern North Carolina and at East Carolina University. And that would be something to be able to do that. All right, let's wrap up.
Bryant Ward's right, by the way. You're the man, Brian.
Yeah, I hear you. I knew that was coming at some point. I appreciate that. I want to thank Bryant Ward, UCLA assistant coach, and they have so many great ties to those Keith LeClaire teams with Cliff Godwin. I want to thank him, Bryant Ward, for being on with us. I want to thank Billy O'Connor, the Xavier head baseball coach, for his time today. He'll bring his Musketeers to town starting Friday, a 3-game series, East Carolina and Xavier. 4, 2, and 12:30 are the game times right now, so get out and support Pirate baseball over at Clark LeClaire Stadium. And we'll see you back here next week on The Brian Bailey Show.
This has been The Brian Bailey Show, powered by Greenville Utilities, and also brought to you by
Bojangles, Bostic Sugg, Michelob Ultra, East Coast Grading, DriveHereNow.com, Greenville Utilities, Papa John's, Pepsi, Taft and Hagler, The Rick House, and Tiebreakers.
Join us next week for another edition of The Brian Bailey Show, right here on